On today's episode of Locked On Avalanche, the Avs spot the Blues 4 and cannot recover from it, but we will still talk about this game. And we got some news on Gabe Landeskog. And of course, got to discuss Alex Ovechkin, the new goals king. Let's talk about all of that. New episode of Locked On Avalanche coming at you.
You're Locked On Avalanche, your daily podcast on the Colorado Avalanche. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Locked On Avalanche podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Chris Maselli. With me, as always, Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. Thank you for tuning in and making this your first listen of the day. That is always appreciated. If you want to get in on this conversation, you can join our subtext. The link is in the show notes below. You chat with Kyle and I one-on-one, get your opinion, everything Avalanche related, and share it on this very podcast. We'll get to some, like I said, Landy and Ovechkin, the goal scoring king now. Pretty incredible scene in Long Island. It was a sight you almost wish he did it at home, but it almost made it feel like he was at home being on Long Island because everybody was behind him doing this thing.
Yeah, I got comments I would like to talk about with this a little bit later.
So that'll be a little bit later. We are wearing our college. We're planning to do this before this game, Michigan and Auburn, but the way the schedule turned out, we couldn't do it on the show. So we decided to wear it after they were both eliminated. My team's been eliminated for a while. Kyle made a little bit further, and sorry about your Final Four loss. Are you coping? Have you recovered from it yet? No.
Yeah, I should be. I mean, good grief. I've been an Auburn fan my whole life. Like, imagine being an Auburn fan. The Braves are 1-8. The Titans are getting the number 1 draft pick. You just spotted the Blues 4 goals. Chase Elliott hasn't won a race all year.
Heads are falling off.
Oh yeah.
It's been a rough weekend.
And eggs are $8.
Yeah. So I guess to add to the misery, let's talk about this game between the Avs and the Blues that happened on Saturday. Yeah, I mean, you get down 4 goals. It's going to be very difficult to come back in this sport. You can do it against a team like Buffalo. But even if you did it against Buffalo the next day, you might not have been able to recover from that. But when you do it against a team that is just on a heater right now with St. Louis, it just makes it that much more difficult. The Avs, they came close and turning it around and playing better as the game went on. And they started, that ascent, and then that empty netter that just hits the post ever so gently and ricochets right in, just sealed the deal for St. Louis. But overall thoughts on the game, what do you got?
We find ourselves saying a lot of the same assumptions and kind of the same takeaways of this team, depending on like their wins, their losses. And this is another one where the Avalanche did not do themselves any favors at all. They put themselves in that hole, and it did not have to be this way. Yes, the St. Louis Blues are on a hot streak reminiscent to Nashville last year to end the season. And the Avs honestly should have not walked in there saying, we're the Avalanche, we're doing all this incredible stuff, look at us go. This Avalanche team 0 for 3 on the power play. You had every opportunity to take the lead early and keep pushing, and they just could not kick it into that other gear until it was almost too late, and they still couldn't climb the mountain.
Yeah, there are a couple of things you mentioned, and I don't think they walked in thinking like, "Oh, we're the mighty Avalanche." It's a road game. Any road game is a tough road game, and they know what the Blues are doing right now. They know what they just did to them a week ago. So I don't think they were walking in they were probably walking in with a chip on their shoulder of wanting some revenge against them. And it's a division game. You always got to be up for those. But how the Blues are playing right now, you got to be on your game from the get-go. And the Avs were not, clearly. You get down 4 goals, you're not doing something right. And it was just a mixture of everything. It just looked like the Avs were a little bit like stuck in the mud, like flat-footed. Just weren't skating, I felt. But the power plays, you mentioned the power plays. And I got into it with somebody on social media, and they were like, well, they're missing Drouin, and they're missing Natius. I don't care.
Yeah.
You have 3 power plays in one period, not spaced out throughout the game. In one period, you had 6 minutes of a man advantage in a single period. And they are one of the worst penalty kills in the league. And if you want to say, oh, well, since the Four Nations break, they're one of the better ones, I don't care. You still have McKinnon. You still have Nichushkin. You still have Cale Makar. You still have Lehkonen. Don't tell me you can't come through. And here's the other part of it is, Kyle, they looked pretty good. The power plays looked okay. It's not like they looked bad. They looked okay. You just could not put the puck in the net. And that was, you had to find a way to make that happen because, God, this pains me right now to say it, but Binnington is playing well. Man, I want to smash my head through a wall right now saying that, but he is. So you had to find a way to get something past it when you had 3 power plays in one period. And did it make a difference? They lost by 1.
Mm-hmm.
And what did the Blues do on their power play? 2 out of 3.
Yep.
Don't tell me. You can tell it matters because it matters, but do not give me the excuse of who they missed, because you still have a really good power play 1 unit, even without those guys. Sure. Does it make it better having them? Duh. Of course. But you can't just say, oh, because they don't have them. What's the other excuse? Because they don't have them, you can't score at all? Because they don't have those 2 guys, they can't. They put up 4 goals without them. Why can't they score on the power play too? And again, I thought the power play looked good. You just had to find that extra something to get a puck past Binnington. You did it at 5-on-5 4 times. Why couldn't you do it on the power play 1 out of 3? Just give me 1 out of 3, and there's a difference in that game.
And
crazy.
And I'm starting to feel like I'm not going to believe the shot stat anymore, because it's one of those things, and this was even prevalent in the 5-on-5. Like, I saw EJ, as soon as he'd get the puck, he's at the blue line, would turn around, just rifle it right at the net. Yeah. And it's just like a lot of, I don't know how they think they're turning momentum, or if they have a quota, how many shots they need to hit in a period, but just the pick up the puck and rifle it, it's not doing anything. And it's,
here's your block shots, 20 block shots for St. Louis, 20.
And that's becoming a stat that climbs for every Avalanche opponent, because they're just, on the power play, it's the complete opposite. They pass around, and it's getting a lot more. You could see that Natius was not part of this power play, because it kind of was reminiscent of the Mikko Rantanen style power plays. Like, it was very slow, direct. You're waiting and passing and waiting and passing, and then 45 seconds of the power play bleeds away and nothing's really happening. You got to take advantage of those. Pass quick. Make those quick. The longer you take, the better chance they have to get set back up again. And it's frustrating when the Avs are not taking those extra quicker shots or quicker passes, and they're drawing it out, waiting and waiting. Nothing's building off that. You got to go quicker, and the Avs just do not seem to be wanting to do that.
There were they were trying to feed like the bumper pass a lot, and they got a few through. St. Louis would block every one of them.
Yeah.
Like, none of those shots that went to the bumper got to the net. So it was almost like they were leaving that open and just having whoever was going to be guarding that guy just falling back a little bit in front of the net, helping Binnington out. It's dangerous to do that, but it just seemed like that's how they were like kind of defending it, because the Avs, that pass was there a few times. You could see it. I did a stat cast on this. I don't know if you watched that yet, but and you mentioned the shots on, or just the shots for the Avs. Their Corsi for all situations was 75. So you threw 75 shots towards the net. Your Fenwick, which does not count block shots, was 50. So that's 25 shots difference between those two. And your shots on goal, so if you want to count the Fenwick, that's 75. Your shots on goal were 39. So that's 31 shots that missed the net somehow. Mm-hmm. Again, like, okay, is this quantity over quality for the Avalanche? Might be. I'm not 100% against that, but what good are block shots doing you? Nothing. Nothing. And they could even harm you, because if it's a block, you don't know where a block shot is going. Sometimes they benefit you and you get the rebound of a nice juicy rebound and a block shot. Other times could be detrimental and it's going the other way. So that's just the coin flip of a block shot. But I think the Avalanche is in this mode of shoot, 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 shoot. And you can't be yelling from the stand, shoot, because they are. And I'm for it, but it doesn't seem to be real. I mean, yeah, UK, you got 4 goals out of this. I don't know. I'm torn on this, Kyle. I'm really torn on this on how to feel, because it's producing some goals, but it's not really producing wins lately.
Yeah, I literally was watching that Blues game screaming, "Just get cute."
Like, which is the total opposite
yes,
of how we've been. Yeah,
we've been saying they need to stop getting cute because that was becoming detrimental. Now they swung complete opposite direction, and I'm just like, guys, just get cute with it and break them down. You're giving St. Louis the opportunity, and again, they have the head of steam. They're making a push for this playoffs. They really want that momentum going in, and you've got to understand the situation. And these little just take it and shoot kind of offensive attacks are just not going to work.
So you mentioned the Blues a lot, and they're on a roll. So what does this mean for the playoffs? Should be fearing them in the playoffs. We'll talk about that and some Landeskog news, and of course we'll discuss our thoughts on Alex Ovechkin, crowned the goals king of the NHL. All of that still to come. All right, let's talk about Indeed. You just realized that your business needed to hire someone like yesterday. And how can you find amazing candidates fast? Just use Indeed. And when it comes to hiring, Indeed is all that you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other sites. Indeed sponsored jobs puts your post at the top of the page and helps you reach the right candidates faster. Now you can speed up your hiring process with a $75 sponsored job credit. Just go to Indeed.com/locked on right now and support Locked On Avalanche by saying you heard about Indeed on this very podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Once again, just go to Indeed.com/locked on. And if you're hiring, Indeed is all that you need. All right. Continuing to talk about this game against the Blues. Check out the StatCast I did. I only do the StatCast on YouTube because it's a lot of visual stuff, and that doesn't really do anything for the people listening in the cars.
He brings out a marker. He draws on the screen.
I don't do that much, but it's John Madden over here, where the whole screen is just sharpied. But a lot of, we're talking about it. We're down on the Avs. I am, at least for the power plays. But for a lot of what the stats show, it was a good game for the Avalanche. And I even say it's like, for the people who don't care, all that matters is the score on the scoreboard. You're right. There's no argument against that. But when you lose a game like this, and you do go to analytics and you do go to stats, which every single team does, you can look at it and be like, okay, getting down 4-0 is not ideal in this league. But remove the score, look at the analytics, look at the numbers. It's not bad for the Avs. It really isn't. And there's a flow chart that I showed, and a lot of that favors the Avalanche. So it means they were really kind of in possession a lot. Hockey stat cards I threw up there. And for the Blues, it's not overly impressive for really anybody. For the Avs, it's a little bit all over the place. The guys at the bottom of the hockey stat cards, the bottom 3 guys are Nathan McKinnon, Cale Makar, and I got to bring it up right here. It was Devon Taves. And if you want to extend it to 4, Brock Nelson. So that stuff's got to flip around, obviously. But for the most part, it's so weird because, like I say, if you want to remove the score, and just go on the eye test, for the most part, I thought the Avs played an okay game. A lot of it is because you're from behind and you're needing to force the issue. But they once they got going, they were playing Avalanche hockey. They really were. It's just the Blues took advantage of you in the beginning when you clearly were not. But once they did turn it around, they looked okay. They did.
And see, that's the frustrating thing, because you want this Avalanche team, especially with the name that's at the bottom, who wears 29. Like, if you go down 1-0, not even a minute in the game, you want him to get mad. You want him to even the score. You want them to take control and not just be like, oh, well, we'll get it. We keep doing our thing. Like, and that's, I get the anti-Bednar crowd, because that's honestly, that's a lot of his messaging is, we just got to keep doing our thing. We got to keep doing the Avalanche way. Like, we know what we're supposed to do. But you want to see that kind of expedited in those moments, because then you do go down 4-0. And then you have to really start playing quote unquote Avalanche hockey to bring it back to a respectable score. And these are like, with hot teams like this, you have to, and especially on the road, you have to hit early and build that momentum early, because you're doing yourself no favors, especially when you're not capitalizing on the man advantage, when that crowd is really into this game. And you make that goalie for St. Louis, that I don't like to mention out loud, when you make him, like, you're giving him just juicy dead duck shots, it builds his confidence. You're giving yourself no favors. This is where you want to see Nathan MacKinnon take the game over, Cale Makar take the game over. And if you have that attitude of, oh, we'll get him, we'll just keep doing our thing, it's just not going to happen.
No, you really took the game over for the Avalanche again. Logan O'Connor.
Yeah.
Logan O'Connor, the Jack Drury, O'Connor, Parker Kelly line was your best line. I thought that was your best line in that game. But for the Blues, they are rolling right now, and they have that first wild card spot pretty much on lock right now. You're not going to be facing them in the first round. But as you go along, if you get out of the first round, and if they are waiting there, does this momentum carry over? Like it's the big unknown, because earlier you mentioned Nashville.
Yeah.
This is what Nashville did last year. Nashville went on an incredible run, and it didn't project into the playoffs. But everybody was like, that's okay. Nobody expected the Predators to do that last year, and they couldn't wait for this year. And look what's happening. So, but I know a lot of Blues fans want to point to the year that they won the Cup, and they, from January on, went from last to first, and they're just, that's not a guarantee of anything.
Yeah.
Nothing. It's a completely new season, which is why I want to ask the question, like, could you still, have this momentum carry over? I don't know. It's all about matchups. It's all about, guys that maybe don't usually perform well in the playoffs. Can they perform in the playoffs? It's a whole nother ballgame when you get into the postseason. But what do you think about the Blues right now?
And let's be real. I know we have a lot of Blues fans that like to jump over here and comment away. Let's be real. Hey, Blues fans, I'm talking to you here. I've been really nice to you guys. I've been respecting you and stick taps. But
you have?
But you did not expect the Blues to end the season like this either. Like, just a couple of weeks ago, you were not anticipating the Blues playing like this and rallying around this whole, like, the Joe Booth thing in the locker, and you have all these little stories going on. You're trying to replicate 2019. I get it. That's cute. That's adorable. Don't play Gloria again. But like, you didn't think the Blues would be in this position anyway. And it's in the back of your mind as well, that Nashville season of last year. You're worried about, having this hot finish to the season, getting to the playoffs, and then just honestly have nothing left in the tank. And that's kind of what I'm expecting a little bit, because this team, yes, they're playing great. They're playing wonderful hockey. Good stories going all the way around. I just don't know, because we talked about how different the Avalanche were beginning the year to where they are now, how they're built for the playoffs. I just don't know, top to bottom, if this Blues team is playoff built. Regular season, they are dynamo. Like, finishing this season, they're impossible to figure out. Everybody will get you. But when it comes to the playoffs, especially in a series set, it's going to be hard to keep that mojo and momentum going in a dedicated, locked-in, lose-go-home kind of playoff scenario. And Blues don't scare me that much, but it will be a wonderful surprise if they do.
Yeah, I think it's different with the playoffs, because if you go up against a team where you struggle to match up, you have no out.
Yeah.
Like right now, like you said, you're playing a different team every night, and that kind of maybe is in your favor. Right now, they're set to face off against Vegas. It's a tough place to play. So, if you're not a good matchup for them, it's going to be a difficult series. So, but they have all the confidence in the world right now, and they're a good team.
As they
You know
should.
what I mean? Like, yeah, they should. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I mean, right now, last two games, the ones that they played against the Avalanche, like Avs had them, but they blew it. And then in this one, they had your number. Avs came back on you. So but that's the sport of hockey. Like you're never really just miles away of the team that's right behind you. And the same is true the opposite way around. So while the Blues are playing well, and you should have all the confidence in the world, I wouldn't get cocky about it.
Yeah.
Because Vegas isn't going to be scared of you. I don't think any playoff team is going to be scared of any other playoff team. Yeah. So we'll see where it goes, but I think they will be difficult because confidence is huge. It's huge. And especially in a goalie, we've seen that where you have the lack of confidence from your goalie, and look what happens. So when you're playing well, when you're winning games and your goalie is locked in, that's what you need. But then I'm sure there's Jets fans out there shouting from the rooftops. We can't buy into that yet.
But we've also seen what happens when that St. Louis goalie is not confident. So
of course we have. Sticks go flying. So all right, let's talk about our captain here, Mr. Gabe Landeskog, and the captain of the Washington Capitals, Mr. Alex Ovechkin. We'll do that next. All right, have you ever checked your bank account and wondered where the heck did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, entertainment, hockey jersey buying, it's easy to lose track. And that's where Monarch Money comes in. It's your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. And you can track all of your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So you stop managing your money and start building wealth. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money and use the code LOCKEDONNHL at monarchmoney.com, and you get 50% off of your first year, the entire year. That's monarchmoney.com. The code again is LOCKEDONNHL, and you'll get half off your first year. Go check it out. All right, so some Gabe Landeskog news. I don't know how excited. I mean, I'm not excited to be about it, but he's practicing. He's still practicing. We're going to talk about the episode. We'll probably do that tomorrow. Just with the Ovechkin stuff, we don't really have time to dive into the latest episode. Very, very good episode though. Cale Makar was on it. They talked, because I've always thought that. I've always thought, like, how does Makar feel about this? Like he's the one that did this. Like, how much weight is he carrying? So, but he has a very good answer for that. We'll talk about it tomorrow. But for this, Landeskog, and they posted pictures of it, and it's just weird to see him in a Colorado Eagles jersey. He's pretty much down there just to keep skating while the team is away. He didn't go with them on the road trip. And he's just to stay active, and which is good. So you're getting that, at least you're getting constant practicing and really dialed up practicing. The question now is, like, is he going to do a conditioning stint down there? And I don't see the harm in doing that when he is ready. If he's ready to play in a game, that's where it's going to be for the regular season before he comes up and plays. So once that happens, he's ready to go, or he will be. The only next step from that is real games at the NHL level. But it is weird to see him down there in a Colorado Eagles jersey. But I would like him to play for the Eagles so I can buy that jersey. My God.
And it's funny that we're talking about Gabe and Ovechkin in the same segment, because Ovechkin is going to go down in history as not only the greatest goal scorer, but the man who made everyone watch a New York Islanders game. Probably the most watched Islanders game. And if Landeskog does do a conditioning stint, and a couple games with the Eagles. That'll probably be the most watched AHL game of probably all time. When I saw the pictures of Landy in the Eagles jersey, it took me forever to make the mental connection. I see the Eagles logo and I see Gabe Landeskog, and I just could not make the two roll.
Yeah.
Like, I think when he started, wasn't that San Antonio?
It was a San Antonio. Was it still the Eagles? I know it was San Antonio.
Rampage, I think it was.
Was it the Rampage? Didn't they switch? I don't even remember at this point.
That was
anymore.
way back, but
yeah.
So it's a once in a lifetime thing, and what a big morale boost for the Eagles. Like,
right.
What kind of guy walking through the door?
And he's with him a car too.
Yeah, true.
And Taylor's still down there. So it's a little bit weird, but I think people were getting so excited, and then the Eagles posted just an emoji of like the eyes looking, and it was like the tweet or like two tweets after the Landeskog stuff, and they were playing that night, and people were like, what does this mean? And there's going to be an announcement, people. If he's playing for the Eagles, there's going to be an announcement that he's sent down there for a conditioning stint. It's not just going to pop up on you. Plus, they want to promote that.
Oh, yeah.
Because like you're saying, they want people that, not that people don't go to the Eagles games, but that's a big deal. That's not just going to be like, oh, by the way, in an hour when we play, Gabe Landeskog's playing for us. It's not going to happen that way. What that was for the Taylor McCarr playing in his first game. So it's kind of exciting stuff down there in Loveland, up there in Loveland. So because, you're getting Gabe Landeskog practicing with that team. Like you said, it's a good morale boost for them. Hey, the captain of Big Daddy is down here. And Taylor McCarr is there. So exciting time. So that's the next step. Is my guess is conditioning stint. If that comes around, we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, who would have thought that would be the first Colorado jersey he'd wear this year?
Man, I want that. I kind of want him to do the conditioning stint just so I can own an Eagles Landeskog jersey. You kidding me? Where did that come from?
I can get rid of my Sampo Renta.
Yeah, I have that too. And you mentioned Ovechkin, and we have to talk about that. Sometimes there's big things that happen in the world of hockey that are bigger than the Colorado Avalanche. Not much,
no.
but yeah, this is huge. So he gets the goals record, and it is one of those records that nobody thought would be touched. Most of Gretzky's records are just so ungodly that it takes somebody incredibly special to do this. And it's so weird to say like, oh, that's a record that we thought would never be touched. And now that Ovechkin has it, like, oh, that'll never be touched, but he did it. So there's maybe somebody out there that could do it eventually. So never say never, but it's clearly so hard to do this because you have to be at the top of your game for so long. And obviously Alexander Ovechkin is. So I'm a massive Gretzky guy. Absolutely love that guy. I was, teenager growing up when he was, the god of hockey. So that's who you looked up to. He was like Michael Jordan of hockey. And when you're at that age and you're impressionable, like you go to the stars. That was who I just grew up idolizing. And so to this day, I'm still a Gretzky guy, but you have to give it to someone like Ovechkin, because how we're saying, like, we thought this was like an unbreakable record, for him to break it and us witness it. That's huge. That's a big deal.
Yeah, and it's crazy because I witnessed Kobe getting 81 live. I watched that game wire to wire.
Mm-hmm.
I watched McGuire get 62. And I equate this moment with McGuire getting 62. Captivating the attention of the country, the world, honestly. Like gluing into Capitals games for this to be broken. Like, this was an impossible record. Never thought it would be touched. And somebody was doing this with ease. And the Kobe 81, McGuire 62. This is Ovechkin quietly doing this without Gretzky swagger that Gretzky had from, honestly, way back in his junior days. Like, everything he did was gold in hockey. Ovechkin, he came in with some hype. He had that crazy goal that's played in every highlight way back in his rookie year. And then it's just been Ovi. It's just been Ovi. Like he's been that fun, lovable, like never been that earth-shattering like Gretzky type presence, but he's been great. And then to
Close
see
to
it
it though.
just
It's been him and Crosby like
it's him
for
and Crosby.
so long, and
And
then
it's never like when you are breaking everything down, it's never been like Ovechkin is like the greatest of all time. Like up until like this was starting to build, you're like, he could really do it. And then it was like, yeah, he could really do it. And then he broke his leg this year, and it was like, well, next year he's going to get that record, and maybe if he comes back. And then quietly he just continued work as normal, and then picked up the pace. And to watch him do this live, I again, it's a Gretzky record you never thought would be shattered, and he did it, and he's still got games to go. So who knows where this number might end up?
yeah, I didn't think there was any way he was going to do it this year, even before he broke his leg, because I just thought that's what I'm saying. It's so tough to do this. And at the age that you're at, it's a little bit tougher to play the game of hockey, play any sport. He's 39 years old, and I thought it was going to be next year, and then he broke his leg, and I'm like, there's no way that he's going to do it. And he incredibly is just plugging along. And here's the numbers. So 22, 23, actually from 21, 22, he had 50 goals that year. And then in 22, 23, he had 42. And then last year he had 31. So he started to decline a little bit. So I was looking at that like, okay, here comes the decline. And that's no fault of him. He's in his late 30s. That's what happens. And, he needed 42 to get, I'm like, if you're just going off of the numbers and his age, I don't see how it's going to happen. And then he breaks his leg and misses 3 weeks, I think. Yeah. Like, it's impossible. And he gets 42 goals so far. It's incredible. It is absolutely incredible. I didn't think it was going to happen this year, and he did it. And then to just be at that level for as long as he's been playing that's the only way that you can do this. So that's the impressive part.
With one team.
Oh, sure. Yeah. That's the other part. Yeah, you're right. Bar Down put up a by the numbers thing, and they just have a couple stats here between Gretzky and Ovechkin. And even strength, I'll give the Ovechkin number first and the Gretzky number second. So even strength is 498 to 560. Power play goals, Ovechkin first, 324 to 204. That is a massive jump between and that's where Ovechkin lives, right? In the power play. Shorthanded, 5 for Ovechkin, 73.
What?
7? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I thought I knew a lot of Gretzky numbers. I did not know he had that many shorthanded goals.
Sit down, LOC.
That is wild. They have penalty shot goals, 2 for Ovechkin, 1 for Gretzky, whatever. Empty netters, 65 to 56. So the biggest discrepancy is power play, where Ovechkin has 120 more than Gretzky. So I know there's still going to be some like purists and look at this and be like, well, Gretzky has more even strength, less power play, more shorthand. And in maybe like 20 years ago, that would have been me trying to defend Gretzky more. But I don't care. Like, a goal is a goal is a goal in this league. And when you have that record, I don't know how you cannot be called the best goal scorer in the history of the sport. I don't care how you get them. I don't care how many empty netters you have. You've done it for this long, and you've done it at an elite level. You are the greatest. You are now the greatest goal scorer. You've taken that title. People were saying that about Ovechkin before he had the title, and I was not going to do that. Nope. Because anything could happen. And if he retires or something, or if he gets injured, he can't come back, and he doesn't have that record, I am not calling him the greatest goal scorer in the history of the game. And I know the eras are different for Gretzky and him. To me, that's the one thing where it's sure you can dive into stuff, but I think it's just look at the number. And whoever's got the biggest number, for me, it's that simple. So it's Ovechkin. It is.
And yeah, I would agree with you. Ovechkin is, and he did that through 2 lockouts. The evolution of the goalie position, where it was you had two styles in Gretzky's day, and now you have weird hybrid goalies doing things that goalies of the past would see as taboo and never would do. You have a lot to overcome, and like highly skilled players, every position. You don't just put big tall Tom on the defense and that's your defense. Like every player on this ice is trained and like highly skilled at every position. See Cale Makar.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
like Ovi is the greatest goal scorer of all time. I love Gretzky and everything he does. Will always be the GOAT, but
sure,
Ovi's right there.
When it comes to goal scoring, it's now Ovechkin, and he's doing. And Gretzky retired when he was 38. So Ovechkin's doing it past his age anyway.
Hang it up, old man.
And I mean, I'm sure you've seen that this incredible stat of games played.
Yeah,
like they have the same amount of games played, and Ovechkin has one more goal than he does. That is wild.
Yeah,
that is wild. So. All right. That will wrap it up for today. So we will be back tomorrow. If anything else is going on in Avalanche Nation, we'll be talking about that. What is their who are they playing next? I can't remember.
Tune in tomorrow as we talk about Landeskog suiting up for the Utah Grizzlies.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah. Tuesday. I know the Golden Knights are Tuesday at home. So that'll be a fun game. So we'll get ready for that. And yeah, we'll talk about Landeskog's latest episode. So a lot to talk about tomorrow. Tune into that one. But for this one, thank you for making it your first listen of the day. That is always appreciated. He's Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. I am Chris Maselli. This is the Locked On Avalanche podcast. We'll see you guys tomorrow. And you just made it through another 24 hours where Sidney Crosby does not have that goal scoring record. That much closer to being a Colorado Avalanche.
Nope.